Hello everyone, and welcome to the next part of Carmilla. You can see we're in kind of a different space today, just trying something new that, if I like how it goes, will be a lot less work for me to set up every time. So I hope you've been doing well. It's finally we finally got some nice weather here, which is lots of warmer temperatures, lovely sunshine, and just in general, it's a lot nicer these days here where I live. Now, of course, we've got our copy of the book, which took me a while to find because I'm one of those put it in a safe place and then you'll never lose it. But the problem is I never remember where the safe place is. Consequently, I lose things all the time. So we're here for chapter 10 of Carmilla. We're on chapter 10 now. And before I get into it, just the usual warnings, these are late 19th, early 20th century stories. They often contain things in them with regards to race, gender, religion that are rightly distasteful to modern people. And if that sounds like maybe not your thing, then this is your chance now to sort of duck out before we get going. In addition to all of that, of course, the thing that gives rise to scary stories are often sort of tragic things, murder, suicide, that kind of stuff. So again, if that sounds like maybe not quite like your cup of tea, this is your chance to duck out now. But otherwise, let us forge on ahead with chapter 10 of Carmilla, and this chapter is entitled Bereaved. One of the things I'm hoping that this format works out is because I'm not trying to hold the book around my microphone. So here we go. Chapter 10, Bereaved. It was about 10 months since we had last seen him, but that time had sufficed to make an alteration of years in his appearance. He had grown thinner. Something of gloom and anxiety had taken the place of that cordial serenity which used to characterize his features. Pardon me, I do have, I've taken some stuff for it, but I do have a smattering of seasonal allergies going on right now. His dark blue eyes, always penetrating, now seemed with a sterner light from under his shaggy gray eyebrows. It was not such a change as grief alone usually induces, and angrier passions seem to have had their share in bringing it about. We had not long resumed our drive when the general began to talk with his usual soldierly directness of the bereavement, as he termed it, which he had sustained in the death of his beloved niece and ward. And he then broke out in a tone of intense bitterness and fury, inveighing against the hellish arts to which she had fallen a victim, and expressing with more exasperation than piety his wonder that heaven should tolerate so monstrous an indulgence of the lusts and malignity of hell. So dude's, the general here, he's having some feelings for sure. My father, who saw at once that something very extraordinarily, My father, who saw at once that something very extraordinary had befallen him, asked him, if not too painful to him, to detail the circumstances which he thought justified the strong terms in which he expressed himself. I should tell you all with pleasure, said the general, but you would not believe me. Why should I not? He asked. Because, he answered testily, you believe in nothing but what consists with your own prejudices and illusions. I remember when I was like you, but I have learned better. I mean, it's a bit patronizing. I mean, allowances can be made for grief and trauma, but it's a bit of a dick thing to say. Try me, said my father. I am not such a dogmatist as you suppose. Besides which, I very well know that you generally require proof for what you believe, and am therefore very strongly predisposed to respect your conclusions. You are right in supposing that I have not been led lightly into a belief in the marvelous, for what I have experienced is marvelous, and I have been forced by extraordinary evidence to credit that which ran counter diametrically to all my theories. I have been made the dupe of preternatural conspiracy. Man, nobody talks like this anymore. And I get why, but just the way people speak in these old stories and the way they put words together, I really enjoy. Notwithstanding his professions of confidence in the general's penetration, I saw my father at this point glance at the general with, as I thought, a marked suspicion of his sanity. I mean, fair. The general did not see it, luckily. He was looking gloomily and curiously into the glades and vistas of the woods that were opening before us. You are going to the ruins of Karnstein, he said. Yes, it is a lucky coincidence. Do you know, I was going to ask you to bring me there to inspect them. I have a special object in exploring. There is a ruined chapel, ain't there, with many great tombs of that extinct family? So there are. Highly interesting, said my father. I hope you are thinking of claiming the title and estates? My father said this gaily, but the general did not recollect the laugh, or even the smile which courtesy exacts for a friend's joke. I mean, yeah. Sometimes you do have to, you are socially obligated to laugh at your friend's dumb jokes. On the contrary, he looked grave and even fierce, ruminating on a matter that stirred his anger and horror. Something very different, he said gruffly. I mean to unearth some of those fine people. Sure, dude, you can just mean to unearth all the people you want, I guess. That's, like, not weird at all. I hope, by God's blessing, to accomplish a pious sacrilege here. Kind of a contradiction in terms, but okay. Which will relieve our earth of certain monsters and enable honest people to sleep in their beds without being assailed by murderers. I have strange things to tell you, my dear friend, such as I myself would have scouted as incredible a few months since. My father looked at him again, but this time not with a glance of suspicion, with an eye rather of keen intelligence and alarm. The house of Karnstein, he said, has been long extinct, 100 years at least. My dear wife was maternally descended from the Karnsteins, but the name and title have long ceased to exist. The castle is a ruin, the very village is deserted. It is 50 years since the smoke of a chimney was seen there, not a roof left. Quite true. I have heard a great deal about that since I last saw you, a great deal that will astonish you. But I had better relate everything in the order in which it occurred, said the general. You saw my dear ward, my child, I may call her. No creature could have been more beautiful, and only 3 months ago, none more blooming. Blooming meaning she was in good health. Yes, poor thing, when I saw her last, she certainly was quite lovely, said my father. I was grieved and shocked more than I can tell you, my dear friend. I knew what a blow it was to you. He took the general's hand, and they exchanged a kind pressure. Tears gathered in the old soldier's eyes. He did not seek to conceal them. Good, some positive expression of emotion. He said, We have been very old friends. I knew you would feel for me, childless as I am. She had become an object of very near interest to me and repaid my care by affection that cheered my home and made my life happy. This is all gone. The years that remain to me on earth may not be very long, but by God's mercy I hope to accomplish a service to mankind before I die, and to subvert the vengeance of heaven upon the fiends who have murdered my poor child in the spring of her hopes and beauty. You said just now that you intend relating everything as it occurred, said my father. Pray do. I assure you that it is not mere curiosity that prompts me. By this time, we had reached the point at which the Drunstall road, by which the general had come, diverges from the road which we were traveling to Karnstein. How far is it to the ruins? Inquired the general, looking anxiously forward. About half a league, answered my father. Pray, let us hear the story you were so good as to promise. And that is the end of chapter 10. One of the nice things about this book is the chapters are quite short. So obviously this particular chapter that I've read for you is going to be quite a short video, but again, that's also partly because I'm experimenting with this, and I don't want to, if this doesn't work and I have to go back and read it again, I would really prefer only to have to do one chapter. So if this works out though, because the chapters are shorter, I'll probably start bundling them together in groups of 2 or 3 for the rest of the story. This one's just a little short to give me some breathing room to kind of mess around with a new format. So otherwise, I hope you and your loved ones are safe and well, and I hope that we can get together here again soon for the next part of